Yes, ma'am? You wanted to say what?
I just wanted to say I'm for the verdict. I'm not condoning what the officers did. I think they got a little bit out of hand, of course. But listen. Okay, I'm telling you, we did not see the first 60 seconds of that video. We did not. No. Did you? No, listen. The media.
Quiet,
Listen to me.
Everybody.
The media is our #1 influencing agent. And that's all we saw was what the media decided to put up on that screen. Exactly. But what did they show? They just showed that first 21 seconds, and that was it.
Let's revisit the Rodney King verdict and how conservatism shapes one's thinking.
What did he do to justify?
And they're saying he is not a dangerous man who drives 80 miles per hour in a residential district. Oh, shut up. I don't even want to hear it.
Yes, go ahead.
I apologize for my young lady. It's her youth.
Wait a minute. And why do you say you apologize? It's her youth. Hold on. Why do you
youth?
Why do you say you apologize?
She isn't old enough to know what has been going on for a long time.
I am graduating from college this very 30th of May. I know better. I am an educated woman.
I am 78 years old, dear. I am educated.
I understand.
And if you don't have the compassion in your heart...
I do.
Now, no.
Yes, I do.
You do not realize or you do not see that this man was kicked. I don't care what he did. He was kicked 69 times.
That's all I saw.
Oh, really?
That's all I saw was him getting kicked. That's all. I did not see every aspect. Why did they kick him? Why? Why did they do it?
You don't kick a dog.
That is right.
No, you don't.
Then why would you kick a human being?
I'm not condoning them doing that. I'm going by
How can the verdict be right?
Game, set, match right there. This is layered, of course. The King verdict, meanwhile, was an abomination. However that college student tried to frame it, this was and remains completely indefensible.
In 1991, 30 years before George Floyd, it was Rodney King. He was relentlessly beaten by Los Angeles police officers. He was tased and hit more than 50 times with batons.
I was scared. I was scared for my life.
Before King was beaten, he had led police on a high-speed chase and then, according to officers on scene, was resisting before a neighbor started recording video. Despite the police version of events, the video outraged people around the world, including prosecutors in Los Angeles, who filed charges against 4 of the officers involved. The 4 officers each faced charges of assault and excessive force. The trial was moved from downtown Los Angeles to the more conservative Simi Valley, where a nearly all-white jury was selected. All 4 defendants were found not guilty.
I feel that it's a great travesty of justice. I feel that the jury in
Simi Valley gave the okay to continue to abuse and oppress and suppress black people in this country. I feel that there is an undercurrent of racism and that the system is rotten to the core.
Decades later, and still not much has changed within society. The same rhetoric that activists continue to spit out, hoping that it'll land, falls on deaf ears. Action seems out of reach, and we just continue on.
These people are angry, and they have every right to be.
Politicians misjudged the anger, and police were accused of standing by and letting it happen.
You could feel the heat from the buildings by us burning.
For 4 days, DJs Andre Russell and Lon McHugh stayed on air, broadcasting every brutal moment. The predominantly black South Central part of Los Angeles was neglected, plagued with unemployment, poverty, and suffering through the crack epidemic.
Do you feel like what happened in 1992 had to happen almost in order for there to be change?
It was almost like a volcano. Absolutely. I felt like it had been rumblings. You know, it was almost inevitable.
As the fires burned through Los Angeles, a message was sent. Still, for this individual, the college student, to take the stance she did leaves me very troubled for how history will always repeat itself. The following exchange stuck out to me between two users who commented on this video via a Reddit thread. Take a look and then we'll discuss. Almost 30 years later in the USA, and so very little has changed. I'll never understand why more progress has not been made. Maybe racism is even worse. Shame on us, wrote the first user. Thus, the second commenter would reply, there are still a great deal of people who are ignorant of the history of this country and lack the historical context that would enable them to see the big picture. If having an accurate view of history wasn't so enlightening, there wouldn't be a centuries-long war waged against teaching it. Great stuff. Another weighed in. It doesn't matter what Rodney King did. There's literally nothing he could have done that would have justified being beaten to a pulp by the police. The police arrest criminals. They do not issue punishments. I don't give a blank about anything he did. Their job was to arrest him. They didn't need to beat the blank out of him to do that. What I think has really happened since 2020, let's say, with the most recent example being George Floyd, there were a lot of people who were starting to learn a lot about the imperial boomerang taking place, how many police precincts and even ICE will train in Tel Aviv, how the funding goes into uplifting and helping police precincts around the country so they could have the most ridiculous gadgets, the newest cars. Some have tanks. That's what we saw. And then you saw a lot of people saying, wait a minute, why should my tax dollars go to this? And that is when Republicans started messaging hard about police funding, and they want to defund the police. Oh, it's all about defunding the police. I mean, we're still hearing it right now when it was pure and utter nonsense. You don't have to love the Dems to realize that they weren't saying that at all. Maybe there were a few sparingly, not even in Congress, but locally, that were talking about this. But then it seems like the populists went in the opposite direction once more to elect Trump because the Dems didn't do enough. But what just troubles me is this college student at the time, and I really hope that she has changed, but what she is showing is how she is thinking that she's in the right, trying to be pure with her argument by saying, well, I didn't agree with what happened, but I agreed with the verdict. And you guys aren't hearing me because we don't know what happened prior to that. So what? So what? I have seen videos of white dudes holding a machete, and the cop, instead of firing an entire round into him like they would do if that were a black person or a brown person, they ran away. I'll give you another example. Dylan Roof killed a bunch of people at a historically black church in South Carolina. And he had the Confederate flag, and he was honoring the Confederacy when he did it. And the cops took him to Burger King. This is the reality that so many people who look like me, and probably to some extent look like you, do not understand and do not comprehend, is that we are living in two separate worlds. And once a lot of white folks realize and I hate to say the word because it has just been misconstrued in so many different ways, but once we realize our privilege and the privileges that we walk around with in everyday life, we will start to have a better, more functioning society, because then you will be able to fight for people that don't look like you, but you could understand where they're coming from because you studied it, you worked on it, you deconstructed. That is what this comes down to. And I truly hope in my heart of hearts, she did that too. Hey, I appreciate you watching. Now, if you can, please do become a channel member by going to youtube.com/TYT Sports and clicking the join button. If that's too much for you, you can just go to tyt.com/join to become a member. It helps all of us out here at the Young Turks and keeps our network afloat. In addition, you could follow me on my socials on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. Appreciate the love. Have a great day.